Did you see how good that felt, being clapped for? Did you see how empowering is it? This is how I feel today. So thank you for applauding me. It uplifts me. I would like to take you on my theater journey back there in Khartoum, Sudan. So let's go back a few years in my life. In 2008, when I was a second-year student of language at the Faculty of Arts, I remember it was 4 o'clock when my teacher announced that she needed students to participate in a show. It was about the Francophonie contest, a show that came after. It was 4 o'clock, and it's normally a very hot time of a day in Khartoum. Everyone wanted to go home. And to be honest, I did too. But thinking about theater or songs and poetry and the glamour of it, I think that was the reason that made me drag my feet and go to that brainstorming meeting. Finding myself among my seniors made me feel a little bit intimidated, especially that they were in the third year of university. They spoke so well. And language was such a barrier for me at that time. But I was able to cope up. They came up with really good ideas. I admired them, and I wanted to participate with them. So I thought of writing my own. The next day, I came with a written script in a very simple language and gave it to my teacher. Surprisingly, she liked it. And while she was reading it out to my colleagues, I can see them smiling and laughing about parts that was meant to be funny. It was a comedy, by the way. They encouraged me by wanting to join my play, giving me the main role. And we rehearsed on that. The big day came, and that was the moment I firstly stepped on the stage to act. First time ever, with no background about theater. My heart was sinking, and I was so nervous. So nervous to the extent that at the very beginning of the play, I made a mistake. Sadly, it was so clear for everyone to notice and laugh at me. I felt like the most idiotic creature at that time, standing there being laughed at. I just wanted to leave the stage and never show my face again. But my teacher was standing right there, counting on me. So I carried on with full spirit, putting my best into it. And by the end of that play, people were applauding and cheering me with appreciation that lifted me up again, making me forget that they laughed at me at the beginning. Well, a simple script, simple stage, and costumes made people happy and gathered them to watch something. This is, for example, a simple setting that we used in our plays. We wanted to create a couch by that. We got 3 plastic chairs, is what we had, and covered them with material, and that was our couch. So simple. And looking at Khartoum as a capital that lacks artistic infrastructure, I wondered, where is all this? It could easily be implemented. So I asked a friend of mine who graduated from the Institute of Theater, which was back at the time such a marvelous thing to join. I told him, is theater as dead as now back at the time? Surprisingly, he said no. There were so many independent theater groups in Khartoum that used to perform almost every week. I thought to myself, what happened? Well, 23 years ago, and due to political reasons I don't want to get into, the authorities shut down the Institute of Theater for 4 years, prohibiting all the artists from performing. Sadly, these 4 years were enough to collapse the structure of theater in Khartoum. what their generation had, they were not able to pass on us. So we had nothing to inherit. Clearly, we'll have to start from zero. Let's leave Khartoum for now and get back to my story. Starting the third year of university, I remember walking on the corridors of the faculty when a very colorful poster attracted my attention. It was written in my French teacher's handwriting. She announced that there is going to be fixed theater workshops every Wednesday at the faculty for her students. I was overwhelmed with happiness because she opened a door for me at that time to continue that passion I had. I was so keen to attend. And I was thinking, what are these workshops going to be like? Are we going to rehearse on writing plays? Are we going to write scripts? We were standing on a circle on the first exercise. A few people showed up, and she asked a very weird thing to do. She asked us to scream on the top of our voices. Yes. What if I asked one of you to scream right now here, in front of all these cameras? Would you do it? I doubt. Because that's exactly how I felt. Screaming on the top of my voice, in the middle of the day, and in the university. What if someone came rushing into the room? How would I explain myself? What would they think of me? While these ideas were crossing my head, I just heard fragile, squeaky screams coming from my colleagues. They made me laugh. Well, my teacher didn't look frustrated. Well, at that point, I'll call her my trainer. And she decided to carry on. At least, that's what we thought. When she suddenly turns back at us, letting out the loudest, deepest scream as if she was being murdered, leaving us with shocked faces. For 2 seconds, I was just standing there, speechless, analyzing what just happened. Did this woman scream at the university? At the same time, I admired that courage she had. She wanted to do something, and she did it. That moment, I wanted to be that person. We carried on, rehearsing the whole year, doing exercises. Whenever there is an event, we were ready to present. This is an example of a play we did. It was an adaptation of Notre Dame de Paris, written by Victor Hugo, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And this play, I think, was the most loved by our audience. That's me here playing the role of a bohemian with my colleagues rehearsing. Later on, we created a group called Le Nil en Scène. It composed of those who showed to this workshop regularly. And we continued doing our plays. These are examples of rehearsals we've been doing the whole year. We used what we have, simple costumes, very humble stage. We would perform anywhere with our simple scripts. We adapt to any situation, as you can see. We started celebrating the International Day of Theater in Khartoum, which hasn't been celebrated for 23 years. That day, we did an adaptation of this also, again, French big play. And guess what? On stage, I made a mistake again. But did people laugh this time? No. You know why? Because they didn't notice. I improvised until I remembered my lines. And my team was coping up with that. And that's one other thing theater taught me. Besides boosting my confidence, it taught me how to work as a team, how to uplift each other in situations. You might be wondering, why am I selecting theater while art has such a wide variety of things? But it's that theater could easily be implemented, especially that Khartoum lacks culture and artistic infrastructure. It could be adapted to anywhere. I envision our group expanding this idea, the independent theater, addressing social issues in such a smooth way that does not attack anyone, such as fighting bad habits, talking about FGMs. It untangles these issues and simplifies them to the people's comprehension. Theater has different meaning in the levels of life. I could see a new form of theater in Khartoum. We can reach to equivalent universities, to villages, hospitals, and even prisons, addressing issues. What attracts me to theater is that it's a simulation of our society, a very realistic mirror. Watching a performance, I feel connected to the actor in front of me, and I relate my story to his. Theater captivates our attention. It creates a new form of conversation. Well, this is not just my moment. It's your moment too, to look around you and embrace the little forgotten things in your community. Identify what you like and what people like, and use that to offer something to your community, similar to what I've did with theater. And look at how far it got me now. I didn't just come here to share my story. I came to share that feeling of uplifting each other,